Feel the heart. Experience the soul. Community Pulse.
Absolutely, Sister Kajira.
That people now take pride in something that Qu'ran says that if you should engage in this is the punishment. And it doesn't speak about the punishment in the year after. It speaks punishment about now.
Yeah, and Allah Ta'ala tells the believers, do not allow your hearts to sway. You know what I mean? Because that means you must stop the cycle.
Yes.
And today we see the cycle and the harm of the cycle of fornication. So, yes.
And we're going to get more into that when we return from the break. Sister Mahbooba, there have been messages that are coming through. I want you to continue sending your messages through to 0786 10 11 12. Any questions or comments that you might have with regard to our topic of discussion today on social justice, our pathways to sexual courtesy, part 4 of our conversation. This morning we're speaking about the God-ordained uses of sex. That the God-ordained uses of sex are 3. Number 1 is reproduction. Number 2, love in the preservation of the matrimonial bond. And number 3 is preservation of the home and family unit. Sister Mahbooba?
Yes, Sister Kajira, these are the 3 aspects that Allah Ta'ala has ordained the uses of sex. Now, we said any premarital sex, any perversion actually mars the potential marital happiness.
Yes.
Now look at this particular advice, Sister Kajira, in the context of CSE, where children are now being groomed or will be groomed or already have been groomed, really to engage in sexual acts before marriage. Now imagine what kind of society we will be having, what kind of society we already having. We already see the chaos out there. And now we have the 16 days of activism against no violence against women and children. This is all part of that. You know what I mean? The people now, the people who are now calling on these particular campaigns are the ones who are actually feeding our children and grooming our children
and promoting
this
lifestyle.
So you see, so we as adults and parents need to really make up our minds, the Kajira, what we would like to see in the future, inshallah. The point that I want to bring across now today is, Sister Kajira, what teenagers actually should know. And they should know the difference between marital love and premarital fornication. The difference is that the latter is actually, it's not about love. It is a sensuous self-gratification on the part of the boy, and the girl's part, it may be the same as well. Or it may be what she's willing to give in order to receive as payment, or perhaps future dates. If I'm not going to give in to him, he will dump me. And things like that. Also, this is the danger, and also which has become very acceptable nowadays within society, thus resulting in teen pregnancies, the taking of contraceptives, right, while the body is still developing. These young girls are now, you can get your contraceptives at the family planning clinic
for
free. Your condoms are also free, and then it is now also promoting safe sex. There is no such thing as safe sex, Sister Kajira. Look at the damage it will do should you enter into marriage one day. Right? So, we know man has no power to determine what is sin. We said Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the creator and the designer of creation, and He is in charge of the laws with regards to reproduction. Right? So God, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, determines what is right and wrong, what is halal and what is haram for us. He has given us the power of choices. Yes, but now, even though society might perhaps curse the fornicator, Allah says it's a capital sin. Why is it a capital sin? is because it robs the sinner of true happiness and the joys of a loving, that true happiness and the joys a loving creator actually made possible. Right? It is a sin because it is so seriously harmful to us as humans. Right? And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, His intention is not to deny us pleasure or happiness or joy that is good for us and for others.
Yeah.
Right? Now further we say, why is adultery such a capital sin? Because, and I want to say this slowly, Sister Qadra, because we never really think of why Allah has these strong deterrents within the Quran. Even in the Bible there are strong deterrents.
Yes.
It's capital punishment for this capital sin. Right? Because it violates and destroys the sacred capital blessing. Right? That's why it calls for capital punishment. Where Allah says, flog the fornicator in public. And Allah speak to the hearts of the believers, do not allow your hearts to sway when you have to do this particular, when you have to stop. Allah says, stop the cycle.
Yes.
Stop the cycle of, because, and Allah also tells us in the Quran, in Surah An-Nur, that it's forbidden for the believer to marry an adulterer, to marry a fornicator.
The adulterer for the adulterer.
The adulterer for the zani for the zani. Or he can marry a polytheist.
Yes.
Or she can marry a polytheist. And then the two of them can actually correct one another in the marriage.
Yes.
Does it make sense, Sister Qadra?
And I think that's what it comes down to, Sister Mahbooba, is that, you know, we make light of it, we accept it because it's become such a normal part of our society, you know. And, you know, as Muslims, it shouldn't be. It shouldn't be, because the engagement within of engaging in intimate acts outside of the bounds of marriage, you know, it creates a standard to which a future partner might not be able to measure up to, and that then breaks down the marriage itself, and it breaks down the family unit should there be children in the family.
Yeah, because the fornicator, Sister Qadra, had an experience.
Yes.
Whereas the person who kept him or herself pure didn't have an experience.
That experience. Yes.
And like we said, it mars really the union of husband and wife.
Definitely.
When that has been done before marriage.
And especially when you consider that the experience is driven by self-satisfaction and by lust, as opposed to wanting to, you know, gain closeness to your creator with your partner, kind of thing.
Even the one author actually says that it's a possibility that particular partner who has fornicated could actually go back
to the
also to actually commit adultery within the marriage again.
Yes.
Or cheat on the partner again,
which is actually something very common
today.
Yeah.
And also the short-term marriages that we have today. It's because we have entered into this particular sacred matrimony already with baggage.
Yes.
Right? And should we speak to our children, Sister Qadra?
Because that's why we have these conversations. You know, we want to equip you. We identified that the missing dimension is that these conversations have not happened in religious spaces. These conversations have not happened in homes growing up, and that is why we find ourselves struggling to accept, you know, what it is that this new curriculum wants to teach our children. And so the missing dimension is the fact that parents and caregivers and teachers don't themselves have this type of education.
Absolutely.
And so now we've educated you. You know why. You know now what the God-ordained uses of sex is. And now it's time for you to have that conversation with your young children.
Absolutely.
And with your teenagers.
Just for an example, Sister Qadra, I mean, this morning, I felt it was difficult for Shanaz to read the news this morning.
Yes.
When she was reporting on this high school where the teacher actually and this young boy or boys were actually involved in sexual acts.
Yes.
So it was difficult for her to talk about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And now there's now a problem. And we argue the point. The teacher or the perpetrator is not at school anymore.
Yeah.
And the boy, maybe it was perhaps consensual.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But I mean, the fact remains that she was in a position of power. And
yes.
she violated her position.
But now look at the name, the scarring of the school.
Yes.
Feel the heart. Experience the soul. Community Pulse.